Hello and welcome to the Non-Perfect Parents Club podcast. I'm Emma, a mama of two girls, an ex-nursery practitioner and the creator of the Non-Perfect Parents Club. The Non-Perfect Parents Club is all about support, honesty, truths, acknowledging that none of us can be perfect parents because it's impossible, and basically just speaking the unspoken. The only rule here is no judgment allowed. I love hearing people's stories. I love finding out about other parents, their family dynamics, their values and how they tick. So that is what this podcast is going to be. Some great honest conversations about parenting, hopefully delving into some nitty-gritty thoughts and feelings that will make us all laugh, cry and sigh a big sigh of relief. Hello and welcome back to the Non-Perfect Parents Club podcast. Today I am joined by Hannah from the Owl Tree Children's Cafe in Newcastle. Hi Hannah, thank you for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you for having us.
So would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, certainly. So my name's Hannah Tate. I basically run what we call a full-time parent and toddler group, but it's a community cafe and it's based in Newcastle. And really what it is just a support network, very much like what Emma does for local mums. It's just a safe space for people to come, chat, bring their little ones. We cater for families up to the age of 5. And we have like a community cafe, but we have a sort of themed role play cafe alongside it. So it's not like a traditional play cafe in the sense that, you know, there's similar structures. This changes every week, like an early years setting. Right. But we also, so to make it stimulating for the children so that they will just go and play so that we can focus on the parents.
Yeah.
And that's basically what we do.
Fantastic. So I was having a little nosy through your Facebook page last night, and I did think we kind of we've got a very similar kind of ethos and message about what we're both doing, and it just looks really inspiring. So I saw about the school meetups. Tell us about them.
Yeah, so these kind of things come, and one thing that I would like to say about what we do, and I think it generates itself, is when you have groups like ours, is that people come up with ideas and take over, and that's what a community is about. So it's about giving people that space. So it was somebody who suggested it to us. I'm not taking credit for it. They said it would be great if we could get together a few mums of the kids who are going to school. And they said one particular school. And I was like, actually, you know, we've got a lot of families who come whose kids are going into reception. And so what we've done is we've organised one meetup a month per school. I think there's about 16 local schools within our catchment over the 4 months. And it's just to give people various different times and days so that someone can make at least one of them. And it's just a way of the kids meeting other kids before they go to school, and the parents meeting other parents, so that you're not Billy No Mates on the schoolyard if you don't know. So they've been really good, and they're not as busy as we thought. But I suspect that's the ones in July and August are booked up quite quickly. I think a lot of children are still in full-time nursery or school nurseries at the moment, and we're doing during school hours, so it hasn't been as busy. And I think the summer holiday ones will be good.
Yeah, it's such a good idea. I just saw that and I thought, oh wow, I wish there'd have been something like that when both my girls were starting school, because it is that thing of if you're a first time kind of school parent, it is quite daunting, the whole school thing. So to know other people that are going into it with you makes such a difference.
Oh, it does. And you know, the mums that your kids get to know, unfortunately you kind of get thrown into friendships. Fortunately or unfortunately, it depends who your kids are friends with. But you get thrown into relationships with other people when your kids are at school, because you end up, you know, picking them up from so and so's house, and you just get. So if you can forge those friendships a little bit by yourselves, it's nice. It's nice.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, they've been very, very popular, but we don't just, I mean, we focus on lots. We've got sorry, I'm digressing. Can I just go?
No, fine, go on, you go.
So we have another mum inspired one. So we quite often have meetups for pregnant mums or mums who've just got like dads. I say mums, but it's dads as well. Anyone is welcome to come, grandmas, anyone. And under 6 months and then over 6 months. I mean, we cater for all those ages, but it's nice to kind of put people together who have got children roughly of the same age. You've got a lot more in common. If your baby is non-moving, you're just sat chatting, and that's great. If your baby's moving, you've got to be able to go with the flow. But one of our mums wanted to kind of take this over and said, look, if I just come on these days and these times, can I invite people along? And I was like, absolutely. So they've come up with this timetable of we're going to be here on such and such a day. Who wants to come and chat? It's almost like the Peanut app, but in person. Great. It's really working really, really well.
Amazing.
So that's what we do. I mean, I think both of us fundamentally believe that you cannot, or it is exceptionally hard to bring up a child if you don't have a support network around you. Whether that support network be family, but I think we all as parents need someone who understands what we're going through, and that is other mums, So your partner even doesn't really understand because they're just not just not mum. Whereas other people who are going through the same thing, and that's the importance, and that's I think what we both believe in and what we both chat about, really.
So that was what I was going to ask you next, was how important do you think community is when you're a parent?
Absolutely fundamental to everything. I think so. I set up what I set up because I've experienced loneliness in when I had my first child. I was only 23 and I was living in West Africa, and it was hard. It was really hard. For the first 3 months in her life, I lost all my friends because I went from being a journalist to a stay-at-home mum in a different country, no friends, and I was so isolated. And then even when I moved back to the UK and I had my friends, I was only 23. All my friends were just leaving uni, and I had a baby and they didn't, and they were out. And so I just think it's such a lonely time for so many people. And then, Sure Start centres came about, and they were meant to help with addressing isolation and loneliness and stuff. But the way the government cuts, don't get me started on this, but transpired is that, people, you have to be in a lower socio-economic bracket to benefit from it, which is absolute, I won't use a rude word, but rubbish. Absolute rubbish, because quite honestly, it is the families people who have moved away from their families for uni or jobs or something like that, who are the most isolated. You can go from having a career to nothing, to no one to talk to all day long because everyone's at work that if you don't have any other mum friends. And that's why it is so important to make friends with people who are in the same position as you, who understand like both the joys of being a parent, because it is a most incredible time, but also how fucking hard it is, like the deprivation and the just relentlessness and being called upon literally 24/7. You're at someone's beck, and that's hard. It's hard work. So you have to have someone who kind of gets it, I think.
No, I definitely agree.
The expression, it takes a village to raise a child, 100%. 100%. And not somebody sticking their nose in necessarily, or not, and here I come back on my politics again, not necessarily a practitioner who will advise you. I mean, obviously for medical reasons and things like that, 100% you need health visitors, I'm not suggesting not speaking to them, but you need someone who will just go have a cup of tea and sit down and just have 5 minutes chat about something completely normal, And that's what I mean by a village. Anyway.
Yeah, no, that's it, isn't it? And it is just having that, or those people, not even just necessarily a person, that just get it, and that aren't gonna kind of say, oh, do this, do that. It's just a case of being like, I get it, yeah, I'm there too, and just understanding. And it's just being heard sometimes, isn't it? You don't necessarily always need advice, or you just need someone to hear you and acknowledge where you're at.
And someone who will just go, oh God, yeah, 100%. 100%. Or, actually sometimes, with the exception of kind of medical advice, but sometimes it is us mums or dads who pass on the best advice, because, it's trial and tested methods, isn't it? My baby got colic. Have you tried this? Have you tried this? And everyone's tried everything. And, you might not have heard those things, and your doctor's not going to recommend every single thing on the planet. Yeah. So having people around you who know what you're going through and what, the tricky things, or just weaning tips, anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer that mums need to be in a position to support other mums. And I've got a bit of a bee in my bonnet about it because I do think that the way this country is going is to a lot more kind of practitioner-led sessions and things like that. And really what people are crying out for is a lot more like the traditional baby and toddler groups that probably our parents had, which is, those kind of church hall type ones where you go along for a set period of time and, you met up with the other mums and then you're there for a couple of hours. And sometimes you don't need to be with somebody all day long. You just need a break for, go and talk to another adult for an hour and a half. And then you could go home and potter on, and because you've been out and you've done something to stimulate your brain.
Yeah, that's it. It's funny. I've actually been to a group like that this morning with my friends. So my girls are older now. They're both in school. But my friend's got her little girls, one, and we've just been to a local group that she'd not been to before. And it was very much of you go in and it's kind of all the parents mucking in together. You get the toys out. We all put the toys away at the end. One parent led song time. And there's like, they've got a little bit for like, so you could go and buy a cake and a brew, but the room itself, and it was just such a lovely atmosphere. And everyone was like chatting. There was tables and chairs for us all to sit at. It was just really, really nice. And we definitely do. Yeah, I totally agree. Like we definitely do need that.
So that's what our cafe is modeled on. And so we take what you've just taken this morning, and basically we run that 5 days a week between 9 o'clock in the morning and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And we have about 45 families a day, every day, all year round, coming. And we have, because it's a cafe and we serve food and everything, we have tables, we have communal tables. And if people come, 3 mums together, we'll give them a table together because they just want to sit and chat together. They don't really want to make other friends. But if you come by yourself, it will go, you want to share? I think you should share. I think you should sit with these people. And then we're quite strategic about, so like, oh, great, these guys have all got babies under one. Let's kind of put them together. Yeah. I just say it's like Tinder for mums.
Yes, that's amazing.
You may well get on, chat. And so that's what we do. And we're expanding on that. So we're really excited because we've got new premises that we're moving into, and we're going to be doing a lot more support work and things like that. And when I say support, so we're not for profit. When I say support work, I don't mean that we're medical professionals. I mean, everyone who works in our cafe or volunteers in the cafe has got lived experience of some kind of mental health condition, whether it be caused by perinatal mental health, and caused by childbirth, or just pre-existing mental health conditions that they have had to parent with. So, for example, one of our volunteers to bipolar, they talk very open about it, and she's a parent of children, but she has to, parent with her existing mental health condition.
Yeah.
And so we all kind of understand. So that's the kind of support we do. But again, it's just peer support. It's not, we're not medically trained. Do have like mental health first aid, but and we do signpost, which is the key thing, because we're not pretending.
Yeah.
But we are, we're there to kind of say, yeah, we do get it, we understand. Or if someone is presenting with kind of postnatal depression symptoms, to sort of say that we recognize that you've been a bit tearful on a few occasions. Do you think maybe you should speak to, that kind of thing?
Yeah. And do you find that people, like the families you get in, have got that they trust you? Like, I know I find with a lot of the kind of stuff that I do is you gain that trust, and it's, I don't know if respect is the right word, but people feel like they can come to me and ask, or, ask for help, or like ask, where can I get this from? Because there's that kind of mutual respect, no judgment. And
definitely a no judgment. I know you mentioned that to me before. No judgment is the biggest thing. It is, isn't it? Really, it's basically getting alongside someone and saying, either, yes, I completely understand what you're talking about, if you can honestly completely say you can understand them, or saying, look, I don't have that experience, but this person may do and this person can do, but also just completely just treating however they're feeling with utmost respect. We've all, so I don't know if I can encourage you and your listeners to do this, because I think you would find it very interesting. But on our website, we have a mental health video that we created. Did you watch it, or have you seen it?
No, I've not seen this.
I was buried, so I'll direct you to it if you like. But it's a mental health video that we did for mental health awareness just post-COVID. And we took 64 of our customers, just people who came through the door. We didn't prep them. We just said, and I said, do you want to do this on the day? We took 64 still photos of parents, mums, dads, grandmas, everything. And we asked them to write on their bodies how having children had impacted their mental health. So what we were trying to describe or show was that every single person's mental health is affected by having children. From on a very wide spectrum. So from I'm knackered, like just knackered, all the way down to postpartum psychosis and like quite severe mental health conditions, but that we all fall on that somehow, and that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and there is, so you'll have to watch the video but it was a really good video, and it did kind of go a bit viral. So I was very, very proud of that.
Amazing.
Need to watch it with some tissues, so it will make but it's very powerful, and in that, I think, was a helpful tool that we did to show parents that it can get quite dark sometimes being a parent. Obviously, if you have postnatal depression, it's horrendously dark. But just those nights when you are knackered, just remember, also that the SAS uses sleep deprivation as a torture method. That child is literally torturing you. So that in itself is just it messes with your head, and then you've got hormones of giving birth and anxieties about whether or not you're a good pet, all of those things together. People expect us just to get on with it, and actually quite a few factors going on at once. So having someone who can be there for you and understand, and knowing that you're not alone in those feelings is absolutely paramount.
So what tips do you have for any parents who kind of want to get out there and how to make friends? Because it's not always easy, is it? Taking that first step, first of all, out of the door to go somewhere, and then when you get there, it's that being able to kind of talk to other parents and initiating that conversation and making friends. So what tips would you give in doing that?
It's oh gosh, it is a really, really, really hard one. I mean, I think unfortunately the answer to this is you just have to bite the bullet to some extent, but don't force yourself to stay in situations that you don't find comfortable. So you may go to one baby and toddler group or one play cafe and think, oh my God, everyone's staring at me. I don't like it. No one's talking to me. Just leave.
Yeah.
You know, no one says you have to stay there and stick it out. You will go to another one another week and just one person will say, oh, do you want a cuppa? And that will change things. So try different places out, go to different places, at least try and go out once a day, even if it's not to a child-focused activity. Maybe your local park, even if you've got a tiny baby. If you go to your local park and sit in the park with a tiny baby and there's a mum's who has children running around, there will be someone who will just say, how are you? Oh, it's a new baby. And you've got an initial conversation. You just have to put yourself in a situation where people will talk to you, and you have to be prepared to smile at people. You have to be prepared to look like you want to have a conversation. I know that sounds really silly, but if you go into any kind of group and you close up, people will assume that you don't want to talk. And that might be a thing. So you do have to try and make eye contact and smile. And just initiate a conversation, even if it's about the weather. It's a start. I know I don't really know if there's any other major. It's just one of those ones. I mean, luckily for some of us, like me, I could just talk for Britain and no one would get a word in edgeways. You probably realise. But it is hard for some people, and just like I say, just keep trying to go. You find somewhere, try different things out, go to different places, go to different classes. Even, for example, if you take yourself down to Costa, look around the room and sit close to perhaps another couple of mums, or do you know, it might just spark that little conversation. Don't sit with the old man in the corner if you like, but you know what I mean. Just be strategic in everything you do, and there will be times where people will speak, and then just be brave and sort of say, you know, do you guys, if you meet someone, do you know anywhere that is a great place to go with kids, and just get advice from other parents, ask questions. Just remember that they're almost all other parents will have sometime experienced some form of isolation. You're definitely not the only one. So I would be very surprised if I ever met a parent who said I haven't felt lonely at any particular point in time.
Yeah, that's it. And I think that what you've said of like smiling and making eye contact with people, like I struggle in social situations when I don't know people. I can often be quite shy, but I think because of that, now I'm slightly more confident. If I go anywhere, I'll always kind of look to make the eye contact and smile. And sometimes I'll like see mums struggling and I'll think, oh, I don't know if they, you know, kind of want that interaction or not, because there is that no eye contact, or, you know. So I think that is a really important thing to kind of, you know, make it known that you do want to kind of interact. And then also what you said about like asking questions, that's a really good point. And something that I tend to do is like, I overthink everything anyway, but pre-think of questions, you know, so you're not stuck on the spot. And then you've got like a thing of questions that you can, if you're stuck for something to say, you can kind of ask, like you say, is there anything good to do for children around here, or that type of thing. So they're really good points. What would you... Go.
No, you go. Because I thought one more.
I was just going to say, so what would you say for parents that are confident and can make that, you know, interactions and stuff? Like, I think sometimes if you're confident, you forget that maybe other people aren't, and you don't always notice the ones at the side of the room. Have you got anything any tips, I guess, that you'd say for people like that want to kind of encourage the others in, but haven't realised?
Well, I think just be as open as possible. So I know within my cafe that there's a lot of regulars. There's a lot of people who come very sporadically. There's a lot of regulars, and I will know which ones are chatty, and I will literally go up to them and say, I've put so and so on your table because they're new and they're quiet. It's your job to make them well, that's because I'm bossy. But yeah, just encourage other people to be aware and to kind of put themselves in someone else's shoes. I mean, it's very, very easy if you're the outgoing, gregarious person to go with other people who are like that. You know what I mean? Naturally attracted, I think, to other people who are quite going. And actually, you know, just to take a step back and think, could we include someone else in this situation who might not, you know, it does take a bit more effort, honestly, but really how much effort just to, you know, if you're already having a conversation, just to turn around to someone and say, have you ever experienced that? Or, you know, what do you think about that? That doesn't take a second. And just to include somebody in that kind of conversation. So definitely, if you're the outgoing type, please look around for people sitting by themselves sometimes and just, I've got 3 girls and a boy, and my girls, I think girls are particularly not particularly bad at excluding other girls, just usually in teenage years. Usually by the time we become adults, we know better. But I've always said to my girls, it's actually your responsibility to make sure everybody's happy around you, right? It doesn't cost nothing to be kind, absolutely nothing. So if you see somebody sitting there unhappy, don't say, well, it's got nothing to do with me. It has. You have to at least go and try and make that person happy. So they're taking this totally on board, and now they're like, you know, trying to solve the world's problems. But you know, it's better than doing nothing. What I just remembered I was going to say is, I don't know if you guys, do you have a online group at all? Do you have an online Facebook group?
I've got a couple of different Facebook groups. Yeah,
just because we have one attached to the cafe that's called the Owl Tree Grown Ups. It's a rubbish name. I don't know why we've got it, but and those kind of forums, I think, are really, really good. And actually, people have started to do this. And I'm really happy for people to post anonymously if they're feeling a bit shy, and to say, look, I'm feeling a bit this. I've got a 2-year-old and a baby, and I live in X area. Does anyone fancy meeting up? It doesn't mean that they. So I think maybe if you're feeling a bit shy, just try and. It's a lot less daunting to put a post on Facebook than it is to say something out loud. And it blows me away every time of all the kindness that comes back, because even that, if you're feeling a bit like, oh, no one talks to me, if you get like 10 responses of people going, I'd love to meet, even if it doesn't materialize, or only 1 or 2 of them materialize, then actually you're in 100% better position than you were previously. And that you've grown in confidence to say, actually, if I do put myself out there a little bit, then others will respond. And I'm not, and really sadly, one of them posts have just said, I know it makes me look like a real like sado loner or something like that. And I was like, no, it makes you look a bit brave, actually. It makes you, you know, I think it makes you sound like somebody that I'd probably want to talk to, because I think, you're a go-getting kind of person, even if you're a bit shy. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, so that was another story.
That's a really good point as well. Yeah.
Online is a lot easier. And, you know, chatting with people online initially, and then meeting up maybe. And if you can, you know, we facilitate this by the cafe, because if I see like a little group, a little chat like this going on, I'll say, oh yes, I'm like, well, if you just come to the cafe, we'll let you in for free and give you free cake, but you have to come. And so it's a really nice way, and then people, it gives them that physical location to do that. But I mean, you can go to the park, can't you? You don't need a specific place. Anyway. Or invite someone along to a toddler group that you've got.
Yeah, that's it. And like you say, just, making that connection online first can make it so much easier once you meet in person, or even if you don't meet, you've got that connection, and like you say, it's kind of boosting your confidence to do it a bit more, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. But this is what I mean, this mums to mums, somehow mums to mums is what this country needs much, much more of. What you're doing, basically, and what we're doing is what people really need. They need that, space to say, actually, and I'm not knocking certain things, because there is a place, but it is important that you have other people around you who get you. Anyway, now I'm just repeating myself, so I'm going to shush.
No, I totally agree, and I think what you're doing, it's so inspiring, and it is exactly what we all need.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's amazing.
Well, thank you. We certainly enjoy doing it. It's hard work. It is hard work. It's full on. And even more so when we're trying to move premises. But if you're ever in Newcastle, then you have to come visit us.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And if any
even
of our
if have children, it doesn't matter. We've got cake. It's all good.
Yeah, and if any of people listening, if you are in Newcastle or nearby, I'll pop your links in the description box for where you are and how to find you and stuff, so that they can come along and say hi.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
is there anything else that you'd like to add? Anything else you want to?
I don't think so. I think we've covered basically what we were intending to do. And we definitely agree on the same things, 100%.
Yes, we do. Oh, well, amazing. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you. It'd be nice to speak to you.